They knew that boy. Anybody with common sense will tell you that he's wrong, he's wrong, he's wrong. According to the law, he's going to go to prison.
I'm off the Carmelo Anthony case. I ain't putting no money toward that boy. His daddy too weak for me. I don't like a weak. His dad ain't willing to die, kill, or go to jail for nothing. That wants some bills paid.
I got to tell you guys about Verdict Bourbon. You know, it's a bourbon that's smooth, it's full of character, absolutely incredible. We've had people try it, review it, and the feedback has been incredibly amazing. So if you go with Not Guilty, you have the smooth sweetness that people love, and Guilty brings the bold, classic bourbon character. So all you got to do is go to verdictbourbon.com, and you got to plead your age, face the verdict, and find out if you're guilty or not guilty. You must be 21 and over, and make sure you drink responsibly. Don't be a dummy. Charleston, he called me on the phone. So I'm going to give him a break here. I still got a report on it, but he called me on the phone. He told me some damning things about the Carmelo Anthony's family. Now, I'm not going to say what he told me on the phone. I'm going to let him say his own stuff, and he said it in part in one of these videos. But this is an example of how people are starting to turn on the Carmelo Anthony's family. This is Charleston White in support of the Anthony family. Then watch him turn. Roll it.
We already got the money set aside for appeals bond. Why? All white jury, the judge and the DA are buddies, along with the dad, best friends. That's been our trump card. We've been holding, already knew that. God has spoken, and you cannot make me believe that as many gray-haired white women on that jury that's dealing with white guilt about going to heaven is not gonna have no compassion about a kid that's been straight A from the time he's ever read a book in school, has no history of violence, has saved children's lives by risking his own life by jumping in to save somebody from drowning. This kid has no violence. Austin, on the other hand, is a violent brute with some sexual rape allegations hanging on his ass. That's why they coerced him.
A few moments later, roll it.
I am removing myself from the Carmelo Anthony's case. I am no longer involved with the family. And here's why. I was starting to feel like I was being used for my influence and my connections and resources. When I tell you we raised over $1 million one day, privately, quietly, they wanted to start another GoFundMe. I said, no, I'm not doing a GoFundMe. They wanted to know, after we pay for the pill, will the money go to them? No. The extra money don't go back to you. It goes back to the people who gave it. It don't go to nothing else. The money is for the pill. His daddy in the way. I don't like weak, I hate weak men. I'd rather stand with a strong daddy like that meth cap man than his black weak father trying to play victim. Now, your son's still living. Hug him, send him some books to read. I got the money, let's start to work on the pill. Anything else don't make sense. What's wrong with you? And I'm telling the say, homie, everybody believe you playing for the money, nigga. And I'm starting to believe you using me for it. You want to get the money, but then disassociate yourself from me? I'm here for that boy. I'm here for your son, nigga. And if this money don't go directly to your son's appeal, you don't get this money. We sent it back. But what's right is right. And if we doing an appeal, the money goes to appeal, not house bills. Not house bills.
Now, let's put this in perspective. I might have Charleston come on my show and talk about this and disclose whatever he wanted to disclose. But when he talked to me on the phone, he told me a lot of other stuff that drew concern for him. And none of this stuff should have happened. Carmelo Anthony's family should have never pulled a race card. And I'm not in favor of him killing nobody because I think it's wrong. I do understand young people are stupid and they do stupid stuff in the heat of the battle, and they're not thinking properly, and they're not thinking about the consequences. A 17-year-old Brandon Tatum is not a 39-year-old Brandon Tatum. And so I'm not arrogant enough to act like I was so perfect and I didn't have violent tendencies in my mind. I never had the opportunity. Now, I wasn't going to bring no knife and stab nobody. I'd throw the hands on people. But they should have just kept it like this, and that boy would have never did 30 plus years in prison, even though I think he deserved to go to prison for a very long time for killing somebody. But what they should have done is they should have took a plea deal. Like I said at the very beginning, they knew that boy. Anybody with common sense will tell you that he's wrong, he's wrong, he's wrong. According to the law, he's going to go to prison. There ain't no getting out of jail free card from what he did, what he said he did, and what the witnesses were going to say he did. He should have just taken a plea, did 8 years in prison or 10 years in prison, then he'd be on with the rest of his life. Also, they shouldn't have went with the race card. You could have just made it about two young boys getting into an altercation that was incredibly unfortunate and framed it. From what I hear, that kid is not really gangster like that. He one of these kids that get online and want to act tough and put the guns in the videos and do all that stuff because they think it's cool to be gangster. I used to think that same way. I admire the gangbangers and drug dealers in part. I thought they were cool. I thought they had the women. I thought they were the dudes with the most clout. You know, when you grow up in the community, when you come home from prison, you cooler than the guy that come home from college. Ain't nobody know about the dude that came home from college. You a sellout. You trying to be like the white man. The dude that come home from prison, you got street cred. You a gangster in these streets. And when you got that ignorant mind, listen to all that stupid music, you start believing that to be true. And they should have came out and not did it about race and did it about a kid that was not mentally there and thought that was the right thing to do at the time, and he's guilty, and he should apologize and all that. They should have went with that. They should have joined with the Metcalf dad at that memorial press conference. They should have had his dad. They should have hugged and did all that other stuff, because then, if you are skeptical that the jury may be tainted, you will paint a different picture for Carmelo Anthony. That Carmelo Anthony come from a good family, a family of remorse. They know he was wrong. They want to unite, black and white. Let's unite together. Both of our kids lost a lot in this incident. They should have did it, but they wanted to be about race so they can raise money and play the victim, because that victim stuff don't work on people no more. It's not 2020. There's no George Floyd in no more. That we done already caught onto that grift. They should have made that boy take the stand and had him cry and do whatever he need to do on that stand to humanize him. But these people, in my opinion, are looking for get-rich-quick coming-uppins. They want to come up off of that boy's death. His own family, in my personal opinion, and I think they were misguided. But these other fools that be joining in and want to be social justice warriors, then got that boy sent to prison for 30-some years. Now, you reap what you sow, so if he got 30 years, he got 30 years. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I was going to say something about somebody that's live right now as I speak, but I ain't going to say nothing. I looked at the title of that video right now when I say, you wait until the Charlie Kirk trial come out. I'm going to preface this because I've been right about 100% of the things I've said. 99% of the time, things have gone exactly the way I said they would go. Only the McMichaels didn't go the way I thought it would go, and I think there was a miscarriage of justice. The McMichaels should not be in prison right now, and they only got politically lynched because there are two white dudes in Georgia that killed a sorry black kid that was thugging and doing all kind of crazy stuff. And these men got off, and because it was racially empowered, they retried these dudes. And they got people that didn't kill nobody sent to prison for life. Roddy was driving a truck filming, and he got life in prison. McMichael's dad, he went to prison. He didn't shoot nobody. Life. Travis was defending his community. Ahmaud Arbery grabbed the gun, and the gun went off, incidentally shooting him. They gave him life. That was the biggest miscarriage of justice that I've ever seen. And let me preface it with this, because I want people to know and you understand that I'm clear about everything that I say. The verdict was correct only because the jury instructions were presented in a way in which they could only charge these men. It was not appropriately administered. It was a miscarriage of justice. They should have gotten an appeal and got a retrial. The judge gave them jury instructions that only had one outcome, and that was the outcome that the mob wanted. They stood outside the courtroom, and they had caskets and threats against the jurors, and they let this happen. It's wrong if they were black. It's wrong if they were white. It's wrong. They in prison forever because of political expediency.